Well, I'm 6 foot, 215 pounds. And 3 years ago, I was 6 foot, 215 pounds. Being that size as a freshman, for football, the sky's the limit, so expectations are high for you.
Throw up your rock fist if you're feeling it when I drop this. Show 'em how we blow the spot. Let's make it hot. The shotgun with the body rock till the party stops. It's time to take it up a notch and keep it locked for the headbangers in the parking lot. Here we come. If you're ready or not, no time to talk 'cause we on the clock.
Told by my coaches that I would be the next big thing for the team. That I need to start looking at schools where I'd want to play at in college. And I was just fired up. That summer, I got to do all the summer drills, got to go to all the lineman challenges. I got to do everything with the varsity team. And so it's just, I had all this building up, this great feeling and just excitement about what was ahead of me, in my high school career. Came down to the second practice of two-a-days. We were running a drill, and in a freak accident, I got my hand caught up in just the chaos of football, and it broke pretty severely. And I went from expecting some serious varsity playing time to missing 8 weeks and sporadically playing on JV and trying to have to fight for a spot to get back. And just the start of that was a downward spiral of frustration and disappointment that I just hadn't expected, because I had so many expectations were told to me by coaches that you were going to go far, you were going to be the next this guy, you're going to play D1 schools, and to where in just an instant it's gone and I'm having to fight from the sub-varsity level to get back to where I want to go. So after my sophomore year, it kind of started a downward spiral of disappointment and frustration. And so that summer, I worked so hard to get back, get my body back in shape for my junior year. And I was expecting to be on varsity that year. I didn't know if I'd start or if I'd be on the bench, but turns out I was riding the bench that whole season pretty much.
What you know about that
And there was a time in Corsicana where the guy in front of me got hurt, and I got to go in and play, and I did really well, actually. Graded out the highest among the offensive linemen, and so well that the coaches told me I'd start the rest of the season. And so I did, but there were points in those games where they pulled me out. I hadn't done anything wrong. They said that they wanted the consistency of the first line that was working that year to be in there in a tight game. But I didn't understand, exactly what was going on with that. And they were just promising me things that weren't being fulfilled. And that just built on that frustration that started back when I injured my hand. And I just was becoming so bitter with that. Spring practices, worked out again, working out so hard. Football's pretty much the sole focus of my life right then. The guys in front that played in front of me, they graduated, so I was pretty fired up. I was like, I'm gonna get the chance to start. I'm finally gonna have my time. This is my year. This is my time. So we come to two-a-days, and I find out they put a first-year player in front of me. I didn't do anything wrong. I was coming off my best spring practice ever, and I didn't do anything wrong, and they just put this kid who had no experience in front of me. So that was it. I'd had it. I didn't know what to think. I'd worked so hard just to be let down again and again, and it was just so frustrating, because you go, like, that freshman year, you're like the biggest kid out there. You don't grow at all. You're kind of stuck in the same body you had then. Everyone else is getting bigger. And you work and you put so much time and effort into getting to your goal. And then it never manifests in anything. So I couldn't take it anymore. That was it. And the week we played Keller, I was so bitter, so angry and frustrated. But I wanted to talk to a coach, kind of about what's going on, because no one had explained what had happened. And I found Coach Waters, who was my offensive line coach, and it's kind of funny. He was cleaning out a locker of someone who had quit just that day, and I just felt like talking to him, because I was just at that point where I was ready to just pack it up, spend all this time working hard, and just to see no results out of it. I love the guy to death. I mean, he's great. There were times I took out my frustration and bitterness on him, and that kind of strained our relationship at that time. I know that wasn't good. But we sat down and talked for a while. Coach has been a Christian for a while, and I think this was good because he was able to talk to me. I think God spoke through him, but he was just saying that I really need to pray about it, kind of, see what God wants me to do in this situation, because, football's not everything. And just that talk, I can just remember that one part of the conversation. The rest of it had to do with, what I was doing on the field, but that one part stood out about praying.
I can still see the light at the end of the tunnel shine through the dark times, even when I lose my mind.
And so that night, I went home and I prayed. This was really the first time I actually sat down and said, God, what do you want from me? What's your plan? I really want to hear. And he just felt like he was telling me I need to persevere and finish out the season. Don't stop what I started. And I'd been a Christian since I was 8 years old. That's fairly young for a decision that's so big and drastic. It's your eternity. And I really hadn't had the chance to mature in that relationship with him. And that night after I talked to Coach Waters was really a defining moment in that relationship. And so later on that season, I'm just running special teams, not doing that much. And it came down to our defensive line started getting banged up. There were a lot of injuries, and they were looking for guys to fill those roles. And that opened a door for me to play defensive line. I hadn't played that position since freshman year. And I was excited, new opportunity, and it was just fun. Football was fun again for me. And some of that frustration and bitterness just started to melt away. So after the season was over, kind of felt God had finally shown me, my path on where he wants me to go in the future. There was National Signing Day, which is when all the guys who are going to play college football, in high school, sign with the schools and the coaches for the next season. And since I'm in the TV class, I got to do all those interviews. One of the coaches there was signing 2 guys to play at Southwestern College in Kansas. And he'd actually heard about me and saw some film on me playing defense. And he pulled me off to the side after all the interviews and said, we're really looking to sign another defensive lineman this year. Would you be interested? And so, here was this dream and goal that I had set out 3 years earlier to play college football, in front of me. It kind of threw me off because I'd just been accepted to North Texas, for broadcasting. So I talked with my small group, kind of about the situation that was in front of me, either, play football for 4 more years or go on to the path that, kind of seemed that was in front of me that I needed to take. And that night again, after small group, I just sat down and was like, God, I really need you and want you to show me, my direction, where I need to go. His timing, it's his, so he could have told me whatever he wanted. But it was at that time, it was very obvious to me what I needed to do, and my career of playing football was over. It was behind me. I think God showed me, on the field, through all the struggles and frustrations I had, he put me through that because in the field of broadcasting and stuff, it's such a hard ladder to climb to get where you want to go, to get to the top. And there's going to be frustration, there's going to be letdowns, disappointment, and just almost multiplied 10 times, from high school football. And I think, God put me through those situations to help me in the future, kind of better myself, with that. And there's going to be people that I meet along the way on that path that are probably going to be going through the same thing, and I'm going to be able to share with them just exactly, what God has shown me, and I can help them through that and minister to them. I'm Brad Ballard, and I'm second.